All right, so let's get to it. Welcome back to Unlocking Your More podcast with Janna Holterman. Today we're going to be talking about safety. And safety is something that most of us can say that we want, right? Like we want safety and security. When I ask people what their goals are, a lot of the times it comes back to safety and security. But here's the thing. What we think creates safety and security as a human being living life in our society is not what creates safety and security for our brains, our nervous systems, our emotions, and our bodies. Which is why you might be able to achieve the things that you want. Like you might have earned the money. You might have hustled and worked your butt off and got the career that you wanted. You might have bought the car that you wanted. You might have the house that you wanted. And yet you still don't necessarily feel the safety and security that you want. And as human beings, our next logical step is to be like, oh, well, now I need to go get this thing, and now I need to go get this thing. And, clearly when I accomplished wasn't enough. I need more money. I need more, a bigger house. I need a bigger car, or I need a safer car with more features or whatever, and then I'll feel safe. But this is the thing, right? We are constantly seeking an outside thing to make us feel the safety that we are desperately and deeply craving in our nervous system and in our bodies. So there's nothing wrong with getting the career, getting the money, getting the home, the cars. However, we have to understand and create the safety for our brains and our nervous systems a different way in order to feel the way that we want to feel. And this is really truly what most of this is about, right? Like you want to feel like you're making the impact that you want. You want to feel happy. You want to feel fulfilled. You want to feel that you have the energy and the capacity. All of those things, we can get stuck in the cycles of getting the outside validation, getting the things, the cars, the objects to make you feel the way that you want to feel. And I can tell you from personal experience, those things do not make you feel the way that you want to feel. And I learned that, in my nursing career, becoming a nurse, thinking critical care was going to be the answer, getting into the dream job, getting all the skills and certifications, literally, getting the pay, all of the things in that job, in that role, taking on leadership roles, all of these things, did they make me feel the way that I wanted to? Did they make me feel like I was making the impact? Did they make me feel like I was helping people in the water? Did they make me feel appreciated? No, none of it did. And most of us are in this same thing where we've done the things we're supposed to do, and then we get to the place that we're supposed to be, and we're like, what the fuck, man? Like, I should be happy. I should be satisfied. I should feel safe with all of these things, and it's not the case because you haven't learned how to shift the way that our brain thinks, feel differently, and to create that safety in our nervous system. So what I started to look at, because this was something that kept coming up for me in my own personal work, was, looking at, okay, well, why haven't I created certain results in my business? Like, okay, I have 3 clients in this program, but I wanted 12. So what happened that I only got the 3 when I wanted 12? And what came through, and it has come through in multiple different aspects and different reflections and things that are happening in my life, is a lack of safety. And I was like, well, logically I can look around and be like, you know what, I have a roof over my head, I have a car, I have stable income, I have a loving partner, I got a dog, I got all the things that I should need to feel safe. Like, literally, I don't know why I wouldn't feel safe, right? Like, it logically doesn't make any sense. But I was like, okay, you know what? Most of the things that are going on don't logically make sense, but there is a reason that we feel the way that we do. And so I started to dive into safety and, like, what does that actually mean from our nervous system? And I asked Source, so like channeled from Source with using my intuition of like, okay, what does safety mean at this deep understanding nervous system brain level, right? So the source definition of safety is the ability to be ready for what is to come and feeling like we are capable of handling it. I'm going to repeat that. The ability to be ready for what is to come and feeling like we're capable of handling it. And I really want to hone in that this is the perception, right? When it comes to our brain and our belief systems, they always work on perceptions, not necessarily reality, not hard factual evidence. It is perceptions of our brain. So if your brain does not perceive that you are ready to handle what is to come and capable of handling what is to come, you will not feel safe. And again, right, this comes down to mentally, emotionally, physically. Does your brain, based on the way that your brain has been programmed, and our brain programming starts from the moment we are born all the way up to like the age 7 is when most of our brain programming and our belief systems are created. So the belief systems that you've carried with you for decades, does that belief system support you being a capable individual who is able to handle what's to come, or does that belief system say that you don't have what it takes, that you're not enough, that you're not prepared, that you aren't smart enough, you aren't capable enough? What do those belief systems say? And from my experience of looking in for me, this was something that my brain was telling me over and over is, I'm not far enough along, I don't have what it takes, I'm not doing enough, I'm not smart enough. Well, if that's what my brain is telling me, then my brain doesn't think that I'm able to handle what is to come and I'm capable of handling it, right? Right? If your brain is beating the shit out of yourself, how capable does your brain feel like you actually are? So using my intuition, I looked at it and I was like, okay, on average over the last 4 weeks, looking at my brain, how safe does my brain actually feel? And it got a 46%, right? So out of 100 is the safest I could feel. I'm only like feeling half safe. So most of the time, I'm feeling relatively unsafe because it's less than 50% of the time. So, right? So I'm feeling relatively unsafe in my body. How does that show up, right? Like if I don't feel safe in my body, my brain is telling me, my nervous system is sending all these signals that I'm not safe. What's going to happen? I'm going to go into survival mode. I'm going to go into fight, flight, right? Or freeze, fawn, my nervous system is going to be activated. My nervous system is going to be stressed. I'm going to be on defense, right? There's a lion, tiger, bear coming around that corner. I could be rejected from my tribe, which means I could starve. My brain is freaking out and trying to keep me safe, but it doesn't really know how to keep me safe because it's telling me that I'm not good enough, I'm not able. Like, right? Like our brains don't it truly doesn't align. Like our nervous system and our subconscious limiting belief systems, they don't communicate nicely. What happens is we have a thought, we have this limiting belief that pops up that I'm not doing enough. That sends a signal to our nervous system. Our nervous system has an emotional response. The nervous system has a sensation that happens, that is an emotion, and then that emotion goes back and gets reinterpreted by the brain. So my brain is getting all these signals that I'm not prepared, I am not capable, therefore I am not safe. And that is why it kind of just gets this whole toxic cycle for us where we're constantly stressed, we're constantly in this fight-flight mode, and we never feel safe. So you notice how none of that had anything to do with the fact that, I have a roof over my head, I have a good job, I have stable income coming in to my career and my business, I have a partner, I have all of the things. None of that had to do with me actually feeling safe. Yeah. Kind of blew my mind, right? Like a little bit of a mind explosion moment here. So this is what we have to do in order to truly feel safe. And I started implementing this, and literally within like a week and a half, I went from being that 46% safe to now my brain and my body and nervous system feel 88% safe in like 10 days of literally doing this. So this works. This is the stuff that we need to do in order to feel safe. So really, what do we need to do? How does our brain work again, right? Like, our brain finds evidence to reinforce what it knows to be true. So how did our brain belief systems get programmed to begin with? We were sponges as a child. We looked at situations, we interpreted those situations, and our child brain made it mean something about us, about how we handle situations and the world around us. So how do we build new belief systems? We build new belief systems by choosing to think new ways, and the best way to build new neural connections the fastest is through emotions. So we have to find evidence, because our brains always want to be right. So we have to prove this new belief system correct, and then if we can get emotional about it and really root to it, it is going to build those neural connections the fastest. But ultimately, the strongest neural connection wins. So repetition. You've got to do the reps when it comes to building new ways of thinking and believing. And that is literally how I took my brain from going into like the 40% safe to high 80% safe in 10 days by repetition. By finding the evidence on a repeated basis and rooting to it. And when I say rooting to it, I mean taking that moment of like, what does that feel like in my body? Getting to that emotional state, because the emotions is what tells our, depending on if it's positive or negative emotions, hippocampus or amygdala, hey, this is significant. We need to put this into long-term memory. You go to sleep, then it looks at all the things that you experienced in the day. The things that are emotionally significant are the things that go into long-term memory. When you goes into long-term memory, goes into long-term memory on repeat, then your brain is like, this is important. We need to remember this. And it chooses that neural connection. It chooses the strongest neural connection. So you can change the way that your body perceives your reality and ability to feel safe within it, which is going to make life so much easier, because you're not going to constantly be getting into fight-flight situations as much, and you're going to be able to feel like you're actually capable of handling things when you are feeling safe in your body, in your nervous system, and emotionally. So, again, how do we do that? Literally the easiest way is to find evidence. Find evidence for it on repeat, okay? What was the definition again? It is our perception about our ability to be ready for what is to come and feeling like we're capable of handling it. So how can I prove to myself that I am able to be ready for what is to come? Okay, well, like, what are the things that are coming up? Okay, maybe I have something in my business that I have to do, or you have a meeting, or you have a family event, you got a kid's birthday party on the weekend, like whatever it is. Okay, what is evidence that you're ready for that? Mentally, physically, emotionally. And honestly, the mentally and emotionally are the ones that like really lock it in the most, but still physically, like, okay, how am I prepared for this thing that I have coming up? Okay, like I have, everything set up, like mentally, like I'm literally going to talk to people. I know I can handle talking to people, like that's great. Like emotionally, like, okay, maybe I know this is going to be emotionally draining, so I need to just like do something for me, do a little self-care, do a little recharge session before going and doing that thing. Okay, great. I am able to be ready for that situation. Perfect. Okay. Well, how am I capable of handling that situation? Well, I am capable of handling this situation because XYZ. Find the evidence. And if you can go and look at your past where you had a similar situation, maybe you have pre-shift anxiety, right? Like you're about to go to work and you have anxiety. Okay. You have literally hundreds of previous work days that you were able to handle it. You were ready for it. You were capable of handling it. Use that as evidence, right? Like, when have you gone through a similar situation and you got through it? Did you learn from it? Did you grow from it? Great. Use that as evidence, because very rarely are we actually in a situation that is life-threatening to us, but our brains doesn't know that. Our brains are still stuck behind in the times, right? Like the way our brains and our instincts are designed is like hunter-gatherer or caveman times. So they haven't evolved. So we have to manually reprogram and change the way that our brain perceives things. And so the easiest way to do that is to find the evidence. So where are you finding the evidence that you are ready for what is to come and that you're capable of handling it. And do this on repeat. And I can guarantee you are going to start feeling so much more calm, like reassured when you go about doing things. And especially if you're doing things that are a little bit scary and putting yourself out there in some capacity, find this. Like, take that moment before you do it of like, okay, how am I ready for what is to come in this situation? And how am I capable of handling whatever it is? Maybe things go south, okay? How would I be capable of handling that? If somebody gets confrontational with me, how would I be capable of handling that? Is there a situation that I'm not capable of? Honestly, I haven't died up until this point, so clearly I've been able to get through all of the other situations that happened to me in my life. And there's been some traumatic situations that I wouldn't wish upon anyone that have happened in my life, but I was capable of going through them because I did, right? You have so much life experience to find the evidence for, to recognize, to prove to your brain how incredibly capable you are, how strong you are, how resilient you are. So now you just have to find it and prove it to your brain on repeat until this new way of thinking becomes non-declarative. And non-declarative basically means this is your new way of being. You don't have to consciously think about it. It just is.